It is 22 hours 30, Universal Time. I'm Jim Tedder in Washington. A Bush administration official has urged Iran to quickly answer an international offer aimed at ending the dispute over the Iranian nuclear program. National Security Advisor Stephen Hadley said the United States would like an answer before foreign ministers of industrial nations meet in Moscow next Thursday. United Nations Secretary-General Kofi Annan says Iran is seriously considering the offer. Mr. Annan spoke after he met with Iranian Foreign Minister Manouchehr Mottaki in Switzerland. European Union Foreign Policy Chief Javier Solana says he plans to meet with Iran's top nuclear negotiator next week. Officials in Iraq say at least 30 of 64 factory workers seized by gunmen on Wednesday have been freed. Officials said the released workers include women and Sunni Muslims. 2 hostages were killed while attempting to escape. It is not clear what has happened to the remaining hostages. They are believed to be Shiites. The United States Senate has rejected 2 plans for withdrawing American troops from Iraq. Senators from the Republican Party argued against setting a withdrawal date. One plan called for a slow redeployment of troops to begin this year. The other plan set July of next year as the date for the withdrawal of all troops. Republican leader Bill Frist said the 2 plans represented defeat and surrender. The Democratic Party leader in the Senate, Harry Reid, said there must be a new plan for Iraq. He said the troops are needed to help with problems in other areas of the world. The Vice President of the United States has dismissed a call for military action against North Korea. North Korea is suspected of plans to test a long-distance missile. Former Defense Secretary William Perry and another former Pentagon official called on the Bush administration to strike and destroy the missile. Their comments were published Thursday in the Washington Post newspaper. Mr. Cheney told the cable news network that if any country strikes another nation, it better be ready to fire more than one shot. The United Nations World Food Program says tens of thousands of people in East Timor are in urgent need of food aid. In a statement released Thursday, the World Food Program says recent unrest in the country has affected food production and access to food. The UN says it is now providing food aid to 60,000 refugees living in and around the capital, Dili. However, officials plan to expand operations to reach about 78,000 East Timorese who have fled their homes in Dili. Government lawyers in the United States have agreed to drop charges against a woman who shouted at Chinese President Hu Jintao in Washington, D.C. The deal was made on the condition that Wang Wenyi stays out of trouble for 1 year. Ms. Wang was charged with threatening an official after she shouted at the Chinese president during a White House ceremony in April. She is a member of the Falun Gong spiritual group. China has banned Falun Gong. The group says Chinese police arrest and torture their members in China. You are listening to the news in VOA Special English. Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert has expressed regret for the deaths of Palestinian civilians during recent Israeli airstrikes. However, he said he would continue attacks against militants until attacks against Israeli civilians stop. The Israeli leader spoke late Thursday in Jerusalem after an earlier meeting with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas in Jordan. The temporary government of Somalia and the Islamic Courts Union in Mogadishu have agreed to a ceasefire. Both sides signed an agreement officially recognizing the other. The agreement was signed in Sudan's capital, Khartoum, on Thursday. The Sudanese government and the Arab League organized the peace talks. Both sides have also agreed to end all military and propaganda campaigns. Early reports did not say if they had agreed if Somalia needs foreign peacekeepers or not. The group of Islamic courts recently gained control of Mogadishu and several other areas that had been controlled by leaders of private armies. United Nations Secretary-General Kofi Annan says he still believes the Darfur area needs a UN peacekeeping force. Mr. Annan said Sudan needs the UN force to help carry out the recent peace agreement for Darfur. He also said the force could provide security for people who have fled their homes because of the fighting. He said the United Nations would work hard to help Sudan and not act like colonial rulers. Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir has repeatedly objected to the idea of a UN force coming to his country. President Bush has ended a short trip to Europe. The president is returning to Washington after honoring Hungarians who rebelled against their communist rulers 50 years ago. He praised those Hungarians for demanding free elections and an end to dictatorship and press restrictions. Researchers say they have found what may be the oldest known evidence of jewelry. They say 3 seashells with holes in them were recovered from archaeological areas in the Middle East. They said the holes mean that the objects might have been worn as jewelry. The researchers said 2 of the seashells are from Israel. They are estimated to be 100,000 years old. The other shell is from Algeria. It is believed to be about 90,000 years old. The report will be published Friday in Science magazine. And now, briefly, here again is the major news. The Bush administration has urged Iran to quickly answer an aid offer aimed at ending the dispute over their nuclear program. Officials in Iraq say at least 30 of 64 factory workers seized by gunmen Wednesday have been freed. And the Vice President of the United States has dismissed a call for military action against North Korea. That's the news in Special English. This is Jim Tedder reporting.